everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. This is part 2 of 3 of the Acoustic Blues mini-series, and in this video I'm going to show you how to play the second half of the solo that we heard in the intro there. As always, if you want to download the assets to practice with, you can do that at www.activemelody.com. You can download the tablature and the jam track for this lesson. So let's take a look at part 2. Alright, so in this lesson we're going to learn the second half of the solo. Now, if you're seeing this out of context, make sure you watch part 1 because I cover the first half of the solo. So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and play through that now with no accompaniment, so you have this as a reference. Just going to tap my foot and play along, and then we'll back up and break it down note for note. So here's what we're going to learn in this lesson. Not quite the ending I think I played on the intro, but you get the gist, or the final chord anyway. So that's what we're going to learn, and we're going to start with this first little lick, which is, and by the way, this is kind of, for those of you that know me, you'll know what a huge Eric Clapton fan I am. I think he's the best at phrasing and just everything, and this is something you might hear him do in like the sort of mid to late 80s Behind the Sun album or August, especially that piece. He used to do more of those runs. He still does some of them, but anyway, that's kind of where some of this came from, I think. But so what I'm doing, I'm starting with my middle finger on the 4th fret, 3rd string, and I'm going to slide up to the 6th fret, 3rd string. So that's the first thing that happens. And the reason we're using our middle finger here is because we're going to take our pointer finger and push down on the 5th fret, 2nd string, and play that twice. And then we're going to come back to the 6th fret, 3rd string. So we have, pretty easy, right? Okay, so if you got that part down, then we're gonna learn this. And what I'm doing there is I'm going to take my ring finger now and jump up here to the 7th fret, 2nd string. And I'm going to do another slide where I'm going to slide from the 7th fret to the 9th fret on the 2nd string, just like that. Then I'm going to take my pointer finger, 7th fret, 1st string. And then I'm going to hammer onto the 9th fret, 1st string. And then back to the 7th fret, 1st string. A little vibrato. And then back to the 9th fret, 1st string. So it's slowly, that part is. Let me do it again. Notice that when I go back to the 9th fret, that final note that I'm doing, I'm just kind of hammering that on. And that's one of those things you could take or leave that note. It's sort of like when you're singing, if somebody's doing a vocal run, they're going to hit some notes, and as they're taking a breath or getting from one piece to another, sometimes they're just going to, their vocal cords are just going to lock in on it. That's kind of what's going on with your fingers. So you could do it that way or without it. Anyway, it doesn't really, there's not a right answer. I like to throw in those little runs. Or those little hammer-ons at the end of a phrase. Sometimes it sounds more like you're singing it. So, all right, let me back up. I'm going to do the whole thing now slowly, and here's what that would sound like slowly. Let's do it again. And if you're having a hard time at this point, I always say this, but it's true. Set a metronome, or tap your foot, or something. Just do that over and over again, and it'll feel. Once you get it down, it's going to feel so natural. You won't even have to think about it, because you'll start to realize that that's a full slide, and this is a full slide, and there's some similarities between the two, and it'll just feel right. But I know in the beginning, some of you will have a hard time sliding from you know, the 4th fret to the 6th fret, for example, and not overshooting it. That's just a muscle memory thing, but it comes with just practicing it. But when you are practicing it, practice it slowly. Get it accurate first, and speed will come. Speed naturally always comes with any skill over time, but if you learn it, you have to learn it right, and then the speed will come. So okay, now after that I did this little, again, very Eric Clapton, surprise. And for that, there's kind of 2 ways you could do it. You could do a half bend, which I just did there. Sounds a little more like you're crying. It's like you're not finishing the whole thing, like somebody's kind of wailing. Or you could do a full bend, which is going to give it a little happier sound. It'll sound like this. Either way would work. In fact, I tend to kind of go somewhere in between. But anyway, that's what you're doing. You're doing a bend. So you can do a full bend. And by the way, just for clarification, a full bend is bending 2 frets above the fret you're on. So if that's the note you're starting on, that's the note you're trying to hit. Hear it? And a half bend is just going 1 fret. So you're going. So anyway, somewhere between a half and a full, but you know, no right answer. So so what I'm doing is I like to, when I put my fingers down, I put my ring finger down the 7th fret 2nd string, and then I just go ahead and put my middle finger down on the 6th fret 2nd string, and I put my pointer finger down on the 5th fret 2nd string, all kind of behind it, just like that. And I do that for 2 reasons. One is when I'm doing the bend, I actually use these 2 fingers, the middle finger and pointer finger, to help push, so I get a little more leverage when I'm doing that bend. And you're going to need that on an acoustic guitar. You're going to need it on electric too, but especially on acoustic. And then the second reason that I do that is when I come out of that, I'm already in position to do some of that run. And so you're going to notice a little pattern here that's happening from the first lick that we played. Those notes to this. What you're seeing is, I see it as a triangle. So there's a triangle between 7th fret 2nd string, 5th fret 2nd string, and 6th fret 3rd string. See that little triangle? And this part of the triangle, the base of the triangle, I guess, is kind of the note that you land on, and so you'll see. See how that kind of works? So that's just part of the scale here. And by the way, if you haven't got it, if you want to know more about scales and why this is working, there's a blues lead course that I have at activemelody.com that goes into detail and goes through the different patterns and so forth. But we're in the key of E. And by the way, this would be the major. I would be playing at this point. I'd be playing in the major pentatonic scale for these notes. That's why it sounds a little happier. And you can see when I go to, when I jump down to that part, you can see it definitely goes down to the minor pentatonic, the blues sounding. But when you're in this kind of happy, that's the major scale. So anyway, what I do then is I do this bend on the 7th fret. I go up using all 3 fingers, and then I land on the 5th fret 2nd string. Then I come down here to the 6th fret 3rd string, which we've been to before, and then I do this little hammer-on pull-off thing where I go like that. Now notice where I'm doing it. It's all around that triangle that I just explained. And so what I'm doing is I keep this finger locked on the 5th fret 2nd string. I pick the 2nd string, hammer on, pull off, hammer on. The hammer on there goes to the 6th fret 3rd string. So it goes. Let me do it again. And notice the pointer finger just sort of stays down the whole time. You can keep it in place. And you know, practice that, and over time you'll get to where you can kind of go. And once you learn how to do that technique, which is not that difficult, I'm not a very fast player, and because of that, I have to use tricks like that. It makes you sound like you're really going to town on some of these licks, but the reality is my right hand coordination isn't that great. So you can see I'm just sort of picking it once, and then the rest happens here with the left hand. And it sounds fast because of the hammer-on pull-off thing, but when you break it down, you can see it's not that difficult. So anyway, that's what's going on. Now, after I come here and land on the 6th fret, 3rd string, I'm going to take my pointer finger and come, while this is here, I'm going to already kind of jump down, back down to the 4th fret, 3rd string, so that I can go like that and do a hammer-on. And what I'm doing, 4th fret, 3rd string, pointer finger, hammering on, and I use my ring finger on my left hand here to come up back to the 6th fret, 3rd string, which was that was a note we were just playing like this before. So now I'm going, and then I go back to the 4th fret, 3rd string, and then I kind of hammer on again to the 6th fret, 4th string. Or I'm sorry, 6th fret, 3rd string. Let me play that piece slowly. So it goes. Let me do it again. You can feel it. So you can start to feel it when, and I like to always take, when I'm learning these things, and by the way, feel free to do this, take any of these little pieces. All these are just words that make a sentence. The sentence is the solo, and you're just communicating really. But all these words that you're learning, and think of this as a word. And feel free to improvise on that, or just make that part of your own solo. So take these words and rearrange them and make your own. Hopefully that's ultimately where you'll go with a lot of this. Again, it's if I'm setting a metronome, I just get something where I can feel it, and then do the other. And just keep practicing until you can feel it. At some point, you just feel it. It clicks in, and it's almost magical when it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you're practicing anymore. You're just, it's like you've learned to speak, and now you're just kind of doing it. And it's a wonderful feeling. And once you get it, it's the biggest buzz. You'll never want to you'll want to keep doing more of it. So after that, all right, let me back up. We'll just kind of refresh. We'll go through that whole part up to that point. So here we go. Okay? And then after that I go. Come down to this part. Let me show you that. So what I'm doing there is I'm starting, by the way, I'm going between the 2nd string and the 1st string, so most of this happens between strings 2 and 1. And the first thing that happens is this. And what I'm doing there is I'm starting on the 2nd string, hammering on to the 2nd fret, 2nd string, back to the 1st string, and back to the 2nd string. So that's what sets you up for those little triplet things. Okay? And then after that I go. Now what makes this sound powerful, I think, is that little slight bend. You're pushing that note slightly sharp. And after that happens, so that's on the 3rd fret, 1st string, and you can see I do that with my ring finger. Then after I push it slightly sharp, I let it go, and then play the open E, or the open 1 string. Then I come down to the 2 string, the open 2 string. So it's... Now watch what's happening with the pick, with my right hand. I'm going... So it's down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So that's what you're, when you want to practice, just... over and over again until you get that kind of run thing. Alright, so then after that I come up here and I go... So what I'm doing is I'm jumping from the 3rd fret. This is all on the 1st string. From the 3rd fret to the 5th fret, just to sort of set your place, I guess, or get in position for the next thing. And then I slide all the way up to the 7th fret. So it goes like that. So let me show you in context. It goes... Okay. Now, once I'm up here to the 7th fret, then I do this thing that goes... So I'm in position here, 7th fret, 1st string. Then I come down with my pointer finger to the 5th fret, 1st string. I hit that once, do a hammer on to the 6th fret, 1st string. Sounds wrong when you hear it slowly. And a pull off. So again, it's a hammer-on pull-off trick. So it's... Okay, so I'm just picking it once. Hammer-on pull-off. Then I come down. I keep that pointer finger in place. I come down with my ring finger to the, let's see, what is that? 7th, 8th fret. 2nd string. Now after that, I come back to the 5th fret, 1st string, back to the 8th fret, 2nd string, and this time I push it slightly sharp, so I go just slightly. You don't have to do it much, but just again, it's that subtle sharp thing where I'm pushing it right there. So 8th fret, 2nd string. Then I come back to the 5th fret. This time I'm on the 2nd string. Take my middle finger and I'm going to come down on the 6th fret, 3rd string. We've been there before. And then back to the 5th fret, 2nd string. Let me back up and play that. I'll do it slowly. Okay, let me do it again. Now after that, I come down and play. And what I'm doing there is I'm taking my pointer finger, which was on the 5th fret, 2nd string, moving it down to the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Then I'm going to take my middle finger and come down on the 4th fret, 3rd string. And then I do this thing where I go. And what I'm doing there is I'm taking my middle finger, coming to the 3rd fret, 3rd string. And all I'm doing, by the way, is I'm just going from the 3rd, this all happens on the 3rd string. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, hammer on to the 1st fret. Like that. But while I'm playing those notes, I'm going to use my ring finger here on the right hand, and I'm going to play that note, that open 1 string at the same time. So it goes. So that note just rings out each time. And what might give you a challenge in that is that last, because you hit them both at the same time, and then that completes it. See? Play knee. Okay. So let me back up and play that. Okay, all right, so that's really the rest of the solo. I'm going to go ahead and play through it again, so you have this as a reference. So here we go. It goes. And then, there's this little run that goes in the rhythm, and then it repeats, and then you could play the whole thing again if you wanted. Or you could play something else. But anyway, I like teaching these little licks because I think there's so much gold in them that hopefully you can take parts of these and make your own solos out of them. So that's all we have for this part. Well, that's it for this video, so make sure you watch all 3 parts if you want to learn the entire piece. As always, you can like me over at facebook.com/ActiveMelody, or you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ActiveMelody, or you can join our growing community of guitar enthusiasts at www.activemelody.com. We'll see you in the next lesson.